Panic, Then Process podcast, where we find ourselves somewhere between clinical and chaotic, sharing lessons that we didn't learn in our academic textbooks.
We're two MACP Yorkville graduates giving their take on the program, practicum, and all things therapy.
I'm Izzy.
And I'm Karen, and this is Panic, Then Process.
Yeah. Yay!
I love it.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Break
Okay.
scene. And,
Time out.
and now we're gonna do the real shit. Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Woohoo.
gonna scroll down to my other set of pages and okay.
I was nervous. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
Oh
don't
my
know.
goodness.
I don't know if you can start a podcast with profanities, but I suppose we just did. And it's so exciting to be here. Panic Then Process has been something we've been thinking about, mulling over for a couple of weeks now, only to really become to fruition because Karen lit a fire under me. And here we are.
Jump in. That's the way to do it. Jump in and figure it out as we go, which we're doing.
How does it feel to like step into this space and be like, I don't know, this might be heard by somebody someday?
Completely terrifying, and also very exciting. All those ands, right? In life and everything. This is a big and moment. Yeah.
Yeah, the
How about you?
dialectic. Yeah, and I think I want to dive into like why we came up with this idea and why we want to do this because I think that just so like as I'm sitting here I'm thinking, wow, how much would I have loved this when I was 2.5 years ago or 3 years ago, asking all the questions, getting all the information. So I guess we should maybe dive in and explain what this podcast is actually going to look like and who it's for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and first off, we want to say to all those people listening, hopefully, we really
Hopefully,
hope you're
maybe,
listening.
I don't know. It's just
Maybe
ourselves talking to ourselves. That's fine too.
maybe it's only like, our parents and our husbands listening or something. Who
Yeah,
knows?
for
But
sure.
if you're here, we're so glad you're here. This was made for you.
Yeah.
As is said, this is what we needed and wanted and desperately could have used when we first began the program. So
hmm
that is massive. And we're so thankful you're here. We really hope this is helpful for you as we walk through this.
100%. And so when you say the program, I don't know, maybe no one has read the title, maybe you've just come up on this. So we are Masters of Counseling Psychology graduates from Yorkville University. And so we have both taken that program in the last, I don't know, Karen, when did you start the program?
Yeah, that was fall of 2022 I started. How
Okay.
about
And then
you?
I started January of 2023.
Mhm.
So pretty much along, and we can obviously get into what all that looked like maybe in this episode or in future. Um, and so we started it and finished it. Graduates now,
Ah!
practicing psychotherapists.
Woohoo!
Um, and so yeah, that's what brought us here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, um, I am a registered psychotherapist qualifying. I'm also a Canadian certified counselor and a counseling therapist in Alberta now. So just heads up to all of you people starting your journey. It does happen. It will come
Mm.
around, I promise. Sometimes it feels like it doesn't, but it will happen. And Izzy, do you want to talk about
Yeah.
how fabulous you are?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, I too am a registered psychotherapist qualifying, so I'm finishing my hours. So let's just break that down too, because a lot of people are like, what does that mean? How are you still qualifying if you're post grad? So as a registered psychotherapist, which is what you kind of become when you graduate from the master's program, you have to collect a certain amount of direct client hours, a certain amount of supervision hours, as well as to complete an exam through the CRPO, which is the, oh God,
College
Canadian
of
College.
Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario.
Th-
Yeah.
Thank God you're here. You have to do an exam for that. And so a lot of those hours that you start collecting are during your practicum while you're still in school. And then post grad, so once you have your parchment, you've got your degree, finished the school portion, you sometimes still have to collect those hours. So that's kind of where we're both at. I feel like you're closer to finishing than I am, because you had a lot of other experiences outside of your practicum when you were collecting your hours.
Yeah, I was working as well during the just part-time. My hat is off to those people who work full-time and balance
Mm,
grad school because I would have flunked out. I wouldn't have made
Mm,
it. So that's a massive accomplishment to those people. But yeah, so I had some experience before and during it that was really helpful towards those
hmm.
hours. And just in mention of that, so we've talked a lot about the CRPO and Ontario, which is definitely a big part of it. However, this podcast will also apply to people who are in other provinces, who are going to be registering with other bodies. That's
Yeah.
no problem at all. We'll have lots of info about that too. So,
Yeah, great
yeah.
point. Great point. Yeah. Um, and so that's my qualifying because I guess your CCC doesn't require you to have this kind of qualifying status or anything like that, eh, Karen?
Yeah, no, I just jumped through all
Hmm.
the hoops with all the paperwork and make sure all my hours and supervision hours are up to date in my reference forms. And
Hmm.
then, yeah, you wait and sit on pins and needles and hope they say,
Hmm.
yes, you can do this too. So it's a whole
And those are
process too.
for some regulated and some unregulated provinces, which again, we can get all into in another. I feel like it's a whole episode of
It's a
it in and of
whole
itself. Yeah.
episode
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
itself. Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, yeah.
So to go back, so you did part-time work all through, like, paint me a picture. What did it look like for you to walk through this 2.5 year MACP program? You
Oh
worked
my goodness.
part-time. Tell me more.
Yeah. So it was intense. It was
Hmm.
intense. I'm gonna be very real about that. It was intense. There was a
Hmm.
lot of tears at times. There was a lot of late nights, a lot of, oh my goodness, how in the heck am I gonna get this done? I was balancing a family and a blended family at the same time, working
Hmm.
in the counseling world, which I was very fortunate to be able to do. And
Hmm.
so it was a lot at times. It was a lot, but it was
Hmm.
also exciting, you know? And we can talk about that stuff too in another podcast, how like getting that
Hmm.
acceptance letter and saying, "Okay, like my life is going to change and it's going to be crazy and it's going to be absolutely amazing," you know?
Hmm.
So it was hard and it was also really fulfilling too at certain times. Not always, but
Hmm.
most of the time. So that's a good thing. Yeah, and how about you? You had like all the life things happening for you.
Yeah, I did. I had a lot of things happen in the 2.5. So I maybe we can talk a little bit about our journey too. We'll maybe circle back to yours, Karen, in terms of how we got to applying. Um, I don't know. Is that another podcast? I don't
Yeah,
know. Look at us.
I
We don't really
right?
know what we're
Yeah,
doing. We could
we're
just like
full of
gab for
ideas.
hours. Yeah. Yeah, so I worked full time for the first mm, year and a half of the program, which takes you basically through your coursework. I did end up doubling up for a period of time because I ended up pregnant halfway through the program. And so I had doubled up so I could take a pause when I delivered my daughter and welcomed her into the world. And
Yay!
then after that pause, stepped into practicum when she was we were both pretty freshly postpartum. And then finished practicum. So yeah, I did. I worked full time for the beginning. I also moved in that time frame to a whole new city, started a whole new job. Um, yeah, and I know I see a lot of, and you do, like on the Facebook pages, like, oh my God, is it possible? And there are so many factors to bring into it. But I also think that despite Yorkville's flaws, and you will have read them and you will have seen them, I had a very positive experience with the program. And I found that it is definitely possible for adult education. I've got a mortgage, right? I've got a lot, like my daughter.
Yeah.
Um,
Mouths to
and
feed.
so
Yep.
mouths to feed. And so it's like it wouldn't have been possible for me to like completely pause to get my master's.
Yeah.
So very thankful for Yorkville, truly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel the same way. There can be a lot of backlash around some of it in some online programs, but again, this could be a whole other podcast
Mm,
episode, but I found
true
it to
that.
be fabulous for what I needed in that time of my life and so much knowledge, right? It was really an excellent experience in the end. Yeah. So
Yay!
it was
I'm
good. So
so
here
glad we
we
had
are.
that like share. I know. Okay, so how do we meet, Karen? How did we meet and become these lifelong friends that are now going to
Podcast besties.
do a
Yeah.
podcast? That's fucking crazy. Tell me how.
Absolutely. Yeah. So totally. It was a bit of a whirlwind, right?
Yeah.
Like our friendship really began in the trenches of practicum, where,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds dramatic, but that can really be what it's like sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
we found each other. We had a fabulous cohort. We were so lucky. We had fabulous people in it. We really,
Mm-hmm.
really got along super, super well. We're still in touch with the other people in our little practicum group. So that's lovely. We've made some
Yeah.
lifelong friendships there. And Izzy and I met in the fire. In the fire. It was jump in head first, go for it. And it was exciting and terrifying and all the things.
Yeah.
So Izzy's fabulous sense of humor and just realness reeled me right in. It was fabulous to meet somebody who was like, yeah, man, this is a
Yeah.
lot, right?
Yeah.
This is a
Yeah.
lot.
Calling a spade is one of my favorite things to do as a person and also as a therapist. Like, I am not afraid to be like, yeah, that's bullshit, right? Just because I like to call things out. And I think that it really bonds people and it creates like this community. And so when you say practicum, I just want to clarify. So when you're doing your practicum, you have practicum course. So that's your school work. And then you also have your practicum placement. So Karen and I met in our practicum placement where we were seeing clients like side by side, navigating the same learning the same platform of how to do it was all virtual, so how to do therapy, how to get clients, how to do your first session. And so when she says like the fire piece, that's what that is, because you really do step into that and you're like, I have no idea what to do, I have no idea who I am as a therapist. And then kind of being able to bond over that, I think, is what was the beauty of the beginning of our friendship, and that it's just kind of lasted beyond.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. It is an amazing jump to run from coursework to learning all the things to
Mm,
jumping right into coursework. And now you're also like sitting with real human beings, right? Sometimes in that school part, we forget like these
mm,
are actual real vulnerable human beings. We have hearts in our hands, and that's
mm.
so important to remember. So that huge learning curve of all of that can be massive. So
Mm.
we were so lucky we found each other and found our group that we went with. And you know, I think that just made it so much easier. We were really lucky to be able to have that. Hmm.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what you just said, that we have hearts in our hands,
Mm.
and again, I want to talk about this in another one, but like just the journey. Like, I remember how I felt in my first class, my first course. I
Yeah.
remember, and I, at the beginning, folks, I didn't do this the whole time. I read the textbook. Like, I read every single thing. Like, I read it and I was so like, I can still feel that. And I feel that now when I have my clients,
Yeah.
right? Um,
We were keeners in the
anyways,
beginning. Totally. We
yes,
were keeners.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Absolutely.
And still we made it, right? Because I feel
Yeah.
like sometimes that can really set, like, perfectionism and setting yourself up.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, so many good topics we were
Yeah.
uncovering here.
There's another podcast episode. You got to stick around,
Look
folks. Lots to
forward to
come.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
So, Karen, tell us why we landed on Panic Then Process. How did this become the name of
Yeah.
our podcast?
Oh my gosh. This one just like I think is we both saw this and went, ding, this is it, this is it, this is it. We went through quite a few names and some really fabulous ones. And
Yes.
Panic Then Process, I just thought, oh my gosh, like this is it. This is how it feels to be in the middle of grad school, in the middle of life, in the middle of learning how to be a therapist, balancing everything, navigating the hard things and the beautiful things about it all.
Mm.
Panic Then Process for me was just like how I show up in the world sometimes with intense things, right? It was
Yeah.
totally reminiscent of the vibe of grad school and life and clients and all the things. So I loved it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And you kind of like it was from we brainstormed for quite a while, and then you kind of brought, and I was like, yeah, like that pretty much sums it up. That's how it's, and same. And I think that's why we're probably doing this together, because we're basically kindred spirits. But it was like, yeah, that's how I show up. I'm like, I'm a panicked person. I'm not a perfect person. I'm a
Yeah.
little bit chaotic.
Yeah.
And ultimately, then I can ground myself and find myself as your therapist, being the grounding force in session and being the grounding force for my daughter and being the grounding force for my family while still managing, all the pieces internally. And so that's kind of what,
Absolutely.
because I also think there's a thing about people stepping into grad school, like, do I have to be completely healed? Right? Especially
Mm-hmm.
this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to be, zen and balanced and all-knowing and self-aware and abso-fucking-lutely not. Like that is not possible, right?
Hmm.
There's so much and we are going to talk about this. There's so much growth that happens in the program
Definitely.
professionally, academically, but also personally in a really big
Massive.
way.
Massive.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so, and that just continues as a therapist.
Yeah.
Like if you're not a lifelong learner as a therapist and like constantly being willing to look yourself in the mirror,
Bingo, man. Hmm.
for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head with that. In that whole piece of like, we're human, right? We're
Mhm.
also human with all the things and all the mess and all the beauty and all the loveliness and terrifyingness. Is that a word? It's a word now. That,
Yeah, it is.
right? It is. It
Mhm.
is now. Yeah. That comes with that. And so, you talk about panic then process, that whole bit of, oh my goodness, I'm human. This is a lot. Holy moly, what do I do with this? Whether it's with excitement or whether it's with sheer anxiety and nervousness,
Hmm.
like that's part of it, right? And
Hmm.
you and I both, it was really important to us that we do a podcast or we put this concept out into the world that is authentic and real and pulling back the curtains on all of the sometimes the felt sense of shame or judgment that
Hmm.
can come along with being a human being and a therapist, right? I think that's slowly
100%.
changing, but that's still a thing. So panic
Yes.
then process was for us too a lot of going, yeah, like this is real for us. This is how
Hmm.
we also show up in the world,
Hmm.
and this is how we ground ourselves again.
And I also think it's really important to add that, like, as we move into this podcast and share our stories, like I will inadvertently share stories of my colleagues or yeah, there was a group of us who felt this way, right? Or there was a shared sense of how we were showing up and oftentimes, you know, and with their permission, of course, in detail if that comes up, because it's not just a you and me thing either. Like
Hmm.
so many people experience such a wide range of emotions, connection, like
Definitely.
just that sense of like um what's the fucking word I'm trying to think of, Karen, for the love of God.
I That's why we have panicked and process,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
It
well,
sums
I'm
it all up.
panicking.
Yeah.
But it's real.
Good, you're real.
I wanted to say we have we experience a wide range of experiences, and that sounded
Yeah,
stupid, but ultimately sums up what I'm saying is that
but it's
like
the truth.
and that's what we're going to hopefully be bringing in too as we kind of talk more. So let's talk more about the goals and the vision of the podcast, upcoming topics.
Yeah.
What do you foresee us bringing to the table?
Well, I think, it's so important to touch on how panic then process and all the topics we're going to be discussing in our
Mm,
podcast is all about helping other newbie therapists, other MACP graduates, or, other people kind of going through this beginning phase, transition phase, and whatnot, kind of figure out and go, okay, oh my goodness, I'm not alone in this.
yeah.
There's all the feels, there's all the things, it's all real, and I can also make it through. So for me,
Yes.
again, this is something I really wish I would have had in the
Mm,
beginning and all the way through grad school because I think it would have been really helpful.
yeah.
So some of the topics are going to be like talking about, grad school prep. You've got the
Yeah.
letter. Now what? What was helpful for us? What are some tips and tricks? What are the things that are worth going to? What maybe are, the times when you need to feed your child instead of doing the webinar or something like that, right? Which
Totally.
like that's real. That's just real. That's called how we balance because there really is no balance. You just make it work, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we've got that coming. We're also bringing in broader topics. So I think too, our aim is for the MACP group, right? It's for Yorkville students. We're going to get specific. We're going to get practical, right? Like, how
Yeah.
do you write a DQ,
Yeah.
right? What is it? how much do you stress about those things? What is it like to step into BPS, which is the first program, the first course of the program? Can we double up? Is that possible? Is it
Mhm.
advisable? What elective should I take? All of these questions that come up, and you're going to the Facebook page, which is totally a great resource, but it can also be a little bit of a, I don't know.
Panic.
Sometimes it's doomsday. Yeah, it can, and sometimes like it can be really like, wow, this is so overwhelming.
Yeah,
I just need like one person to tell me what's up, and I'm hoping that's going to be up for us
that's right.
for people,
Yeah.
right?
We're the process part.
Yes, yes. You've panicked and we've processed it for you.
Yeah.
Here you go, right? And
Love it.
hopefully with that we're going to be like receiving questions from folks and hey, I was really curious about this, or could you touch on this, or could you share your experience of this? And we would love that.
Definitely.
So that's really the, target, but like Karen said, it's really for also like any graduate who's kind of going through this like therapy helping profession type transition. And so we will, from a housekeeping perspective, we're going to label our episodes, this is
Hmm.
MACP specific, and this is specific to the program and what we know of it in terms of DQs, courses, this type of stuff. But some of them are going to be more broad. Like, what does it mean to show up authentically and professionally? Or
Love it.
how do you balance life and also being a therapist, right? And
Mhm.
that's a little bit more broad that anyone in the helping profession can kind of tune into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna do it all, right? We're gonna do it all. Why
Yes,
not?
yes,
Why
because
not?
we can be something to everyone.
There's the panic then process
I
part
know.
again, right?
I know, right? No therapist is telling you that you should be something to everybody. Like
No,
that's just not.
exactly. No.
Um,
But we're going to be
but
authentic through it and we're going to do
yes.
our best
Yeah.
and we're going to share our experiences and things we wished we would have known or had support with or
Yes.
hopefully answer any questions and hopefully be
Yes.
that resource for all of you out there too that, we really could have used during that time. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and that's really the motivation for sure. And so, how do you get in touch with us? Great question. We just opened up an email. We will
Yay.
also be doing social. So, by the time this podcast hit the air, hopefully, we've got some social media going.
That's right.
But in the meantime, we've got our email, and our email is panicthenprocess@gmail.com. Pretty simple.
Fab. Love it. We're
Pretty
here. We
simple.
want to hear from you guys. You betcha. Let us
Yeah.
know any thoughts, any comments, any like, Yahoo, you're amazing. Any, that was
Wow.
interesting. Any
Yeah.
ideas, anything at all. Let us know. We're here. We want
Yeah.
to be a resource to you. So let us know what you want.
And I would love to say, like, I don't know, comment, share, like, subscribe. But to be perfectly honest, as we step into our first session, I have no idea what any of that is actually going to look like because I don't even know how to get this episode into like the world.
That's real.
So, like,
That's real.
I don't know if you comment and you don't hear back from us, like, please send an email because we're old school and we have our email accessible, but I
Yeah.
don't know. Like,
Yeah.
we're not even that old. I don't know.
We're
There's
just
something here.
Yeah, we're just real. We're balancing all the things. We're doing it all. This is our fun, fill
Yeah.
your soul kind of project that we
Yes.
wanted to work on together. So,
Oh, I
we're
love
doing our
that.
best. We're doing our best, and we're so, so excited and glad that you're along for the ride. So, thank you for that, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
looking forward to it.
And so we never talked about finishing. Do you have any lasting thoughts, Karen? Did you feel like we missed anything?
I think, holy moly, we're here. That's
I know.
exciting. Holy moly, if you lasted this entire episode, we appreciate you. Our
Yeah.
hearts are with you. Thank you.
Thanks for
And
sticking with the chaos.
yes. And we're just so excited to get this off the ground and see what else we can do for all of you. So,
I
yeah,
love it. And
welcome.
we never talked about how we're ending a podcast, so I'm just gonna say I'm Izzy,
I'm Karen.
and this is Panic Then Process.
Thanks, y'all. See you later.
Bye.